What's up, y'all, and welcome back to the Jack Vita and Stephenie LaGrossa Kendrick show. I'm Jack Vita.
I'm Stephenie LaGrossa Kendrick.
We're back once again, aren't we?
We are back talking traitors and all things fun. What do you got, Jack?
Traitors,
What do you think? What do you think about this
Traitors
week?
talk. Oh, I got a lot
Episode
of thoughts.
7.
Episode
Mm-hmm.
7, Blood on Their Hands. First and foremost, before we get into it, make sure you guys subscribe to the YouTube channel here. If you're watching on YouTube, we got a bunch of you guys subscribing last week, which is great. And comment your questions for Stephenie. Steph, I forgot to tell you, we got some listener questions for you today. We'll
Oh,
get to
great.
those later on. Yeah, so
Great.
people commented their questions for Stephenie. Make sure you guys do that
Perfect.
today. Like I said last week, we got a lot, like probably like 97% of people watching this aren't even subscribed. So hit subscribe, turn on those notifications, and then you're not going to have to dig through Reddit or wherever people are posting this podcast for you to find it. Just hit subscribe. And we're also on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever it is that you get your podcasts. So we've also got a guest joining us today, Steph.
I can't wait. My
We've
good
got,
old
tell them, yeah, go
my
ahead.
good old Puerto Rican friend.
Bam from
My
season
good old
one.
Puerto Rican buddy Bam. Season 1.
Bam, Bam
Who
will
left
be
way
on with
too
us.
early for my liking. But what are you gonna do?
Bam will be on with us a little later. Good
Yes.
friend of mine, by the way. Good friend.
No, everybody's a good friend of Jack, in case you want to know.
Good friend of mine. Bam,
Great friend.
good friend of
They
yours.
go they go way back. Now, here's the thing, the difference between Jack and I. I would not say he's a good friend of mine. He's a good friend I met on the show, but I don't know a ton about Bam. Like I don't go way back with him. I like him a lot. I would like for him to be a good friend of mine, but I mean, I would not say we're like good friends, Jack. But Jack met him once, so they're best friends. Jack's a little younger than me. I think he's a little bit not as hard as me. So, you know,
I'm more of an
he's
I'm more of
he's a
a
little he's a little nicer.
I'm more of like an open book where I like share a moment with somebody and now we're tight.
You're so tight. No, I
We're
love
tight, yeah.
Bam. We got as tight as we could get in the first like, I don't know, 5 days. But then I saw him in New York and I met his beautiful now wife. And I'm excited to have big news because I'm hanging out with Bam again soon, like on some sort
Yes.
of crazy thing we're going to talk about later. So anyway, yes, Bam is a friend, a very nice friend of mine who's Puerto Rican. And I love him because Puerto Ricans and Italians go well together.
Thank you, Sandra, for that quote
Thank you,
back on
Sandra. Love
Survivor
that
Heroes
quote.
versus Villains. Big Sandra fans, especially today. We'll talk about that. Do you know what
Yes.
Bam's real name is, by the way? I'm just curious.
Well, because I'm such good friends with him. No, I don't. What is it? Why don't you enlighten me? I probably do. I'm just not remembering at this moment.
If you had to guess, can you take a stab at it?
Isn't it like Robert or something?
Yeah, yeah, there you go. Yeah,
Oh, really? See, I
yeah.
am good friends with Bam. See that?
He's a Rob. I think he could be a Rob.
I think, yeah, because of his Instagram, I think whenever I tag him, it's like Robert Bam something or something. Because we have big news coming together soon.
Yeah,
We're
big
doing something
news. Big
together.
news.
So
And
I've been tagging
don't you
him a
think
lot on my Instagram, my
don't you think
social.
he'd be more of a Rob than a Robert?
No, he wears those glasses. He looks very Robert to
Yeah,
me,
that's true.
actually. Yes.
Depends on what look he's going for. If he's got
Yeah.
like the fedora and the glasses,
Then
he's
he's Robert.
Robert. If
Exactly.
he's
If he's
got
in his
like
gym clothes and he's working out and
yeah,
getting all buff, he's Rob. Yeah.
that was when I hung out with him. He was wearing like workout clothes and
So he
like
was like
he was
Rob.
just yeah, he was Rob then. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so we've got another big episode of the Traitors today that we're going to
Okay.
discuss. So first and
Yes.
foremost, this was a different format from all of the
Yes.
other episodes. And whenever you introduce a new format or you change things up, there's going to be differing opinions. Some people love it, some people hate it.
Yes.
I have several thoughts on this. And first and foremost, I just want to lead off by saying I've been loving season 2. I've been
Yes.
loving the Traitors as a franchise, big fan. we wouldn't be doing the show every week if we weren't obsessed with the Traitors. Steph and I will talk about the Traitors when we're not even on this podcast because we're such big fans. We're in a group chat with Bam and a bunch of other people from season 1 where we talk about the Traitors and all the stuff you guys are going on with. I've been loving this season. Having
Yes,
said
great
that,
season.
I felt like this episode was a bit of a letdown.
I know. Why do you feel that way?
I felt like the first half was amazing. We've got so much momentum from the last episode. Stuff is
Right?
really starting to intensify. It seems like they might get another traitor. We've got this whole thing with Peter. He declines the invitation. There's so much
Which I
drama.
called, which I called.
You did. You and Rachel, both.
Rachel
Congrats.
too. Yeah, because we know how those people are. Okay, so go ahead.
So, Peter declines the invitation.
Hmm.
There was a lot that is happening.
I'm surprised, by the way, Phaedra didn't go ape on Parvati. Seriously, because she was
Yeah,
like letting Parvati do it, but I guess it was Parvati in her own hot water after that. I mean, once he declined, she's like dead in the water. The edit is not showing it, but I think she's dead in the
yeah.
water. So go ahead.
And in addition to all of that, we've got this whole numbers game. It looks like we're setting up for a huge banishment, pivotal vote,
Right.
lots of stuff happening. And then the second half of the episode, or at least the last third, we don't do anything with it. We kind of pump the brakes. And now I feel like we killed some of the momentum that we're building. I thought we were setting up for a big, big vote, big banishment. And instead, we
Hmm.
walk away from this episode, no murder, no banishment, and I felt like there was more to be desired.
I agree with that. And I can't help but wonder if it was on the production side of things and if production stepped in and did that for some reason because of the numbers of the game and episodes. And that's why it would be great if we had a Sandra or somebody come on and explain this to us. Because that part, I loved the whole going around though with the fire and picking people. Like, yeah, that's different. And there was no banishment and that sucked. I get that. But that was pretty cool because that shows really where people stand and the whole CT and Trishelle dynamic. I mean, I felt terrible for Trishelle, and I actually think CT felt terrible too. But if you heard what he said, like when you're put in that position and you're like, it's kind of a fight or flight moment and your back's up against the wall and you're like in this game mode, you're not thinking of friend, you're thinking of the game. And I don't know what his connection with John is or whatever, but I think he felt bad about that. But either way, it does suck because Parvati was next to go at that round table, which would have been another traitor. And now that's off the table. So she's kind of safe. So from a faithful standpoint, that's brutal and very disappointing. And it's never been done before. So a lot is different this season. So I wonder why, from a production standpoint, that was done. It's obviously something with the numbers. But that's what happens with these shows. Like, not everything's set in stone. Same thing with Survivor,
Yeah.
you know? And just because the first season went this way doesn't mean the second season's going this way. It doesn't even mean it's the same number of people. It doesn't even mean it's the same number of traitors, banishments, whatever, murders, recruits, whatever it may be. And you sign up for these things and you've got no rebuttal as a contestant. Like, production is production. So I still think it was a great episode. I understand what you're saying from a fan's point of view, because Parvati probably should have went. Now there's no banishment. But listen, that's how the cookie crumbles.
I think that you're 100% right on the production side of things. I personally think Parvati was going to go next. And I think they
Sure.
misdirected that a
She's,
little bit with the
she
edit
still
to make
might
it look
go.
like. Yeah, I think they misdirected a little bit in the edit to make it look like Peter was going to go out. And I'm sure that it was going to be a tight vote. It was going to be a big vote. However, I think they were fearful that if they lose Parvati, and now they only have one traitor left, and Dan has hinted to the group that Phaedra is a traitor, and Trishelle is all over that. This season could wrap up in a matter of like 2 more days, and they need to stretch this thing
Yeah.
out until 11 episodes. So I think that's a big part of what
7,
happened
8,
here.
9, 10. Well, they're going to recruit again. Parvati's probably going to go, and she's going to have
Yeah.
the ability to recruit again. So I still think they're going to be sitting pretty. But listen, like, you can't have a traitor win every season.
Right. I think that, I mean, they will get to recruit. It'll be or Phaedra will get to recruit because it looks like Parvati will go out next.
Right.
And then the other thing though will be interesting is, are they going to let Phaedra recruit twice? Did they lose the right to have a third traitor, or can she get two more chances to bring people in?
Yeah, I don't know how it works. I don't think there has to be three at all times by any stretch. But I don't think there can only be one this early in the game, or the whole game would be over. So
You really liked the tribe. It was a little tribal council-less.
what I didn't like is they didn't explain why. Like he just said,
Yeah.
"Oh, and there's going to be another twist. Meet me in the woods." But and actually they didn't. I didn't, unless I missed it. And I like to watch these 2 and 3 times, and I've only had a chance to watch
Yeah.
this once because it's been a crazy couple of days with my big announcement that we'll announce later. But and just mob life and work. So I miss where he said, like, you two won the shield, so you have it. So one of you can pass the shield, and then that person can pass it, and you're going to have 5 different. I kind of learned that as they went. They didn't even
Yeah.
explain that. I was like, oh, wait, why would you give, who got it first? Cherie?
Yeah.
I'm like, she doesn't need a shield. And then she gets to go give somebody else a shield. And I was like, wait, how many times they get to do this? I didn't even hear the directions.
It felt a lot like on Survivor when Jeff Probst is like, you get to bring one person on reward, and then he's like, pick another person,
Yeah,
and
it
it just
did.
keeps
Okay.
going, and it's not
Okay.
explained why.
So he did. So I just want to make sure I didn't miss that. He didn't explain it.
No, he didn't
Alan.
explain it.
Okay.
It was very. I watched it. I did watch it 3 times actually. I watched it. I was watching it
See,
this
I
morning before
didn't.
we got on the
And
call,
I have not had time. Okay.
and it was like it was not well explained. They didn't say why
Okay.
they were doing this, and yeah, and then it was kind of like to your point, I do think it's interesting because it does show where people stand.
Yes.
However, I feel like I would not want, you can't, I don't think you can do this instead of a banishment. This should be the challenge that you do, the mission, or incorporate this element into a mission. Because they did that on your season. They did that with, like, who's the most popular, who's the person you want to hang out with if you get stuck on an island, and then you
Right.
all
They
like
did that
vote.
wheel. Yeah.
Yeah, and then like everyone was kind of like dumping on Michael, and Michael was just kind of having fun with it.
Right. And Kate, everybody was like, they thought Kate was the biggest liar, BSer. Sorry. So yeah, it was kind of like that.
So, and then they do this on Survivor a lot too. Like they did this on
Yeah.
Survivor Guatemala, where it was like, who you find out, okay, who's coming after you? Because I think that was when Lydia was like,
Yeah.
you have gone on all
Was it
these
the
rewards, and
coconuts or you got to throw
yeah,
the
yeah,
tile
they
and break it?
cutting the ropes, and
Oh,
so
yeah, yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah,
always
yeah.
interesting when they do that on Survivor because you get an idea of the pecking order. But
Yeah,
I just don't want this in place of a banishment, and especially
I
I
know.
mean, you want to talk about like if you were in this situation as a faithful, I can't imagine that you would be very happy with
Oh, I would be
the fact that
pissed.
you get to skip the traitors get to avoid being banished around after they just blew like 2 things in a row. They just lost a traitor, and now they tried to recruit a traitor and they didn't do that well. Like the traitors are not doing well, and they still are getting some kind of, they're not being punished really for not
Yeah,
doing
they have
well.
such a leg up. I know it's so unfair. It's interesting because I don't really know anybody personally on this cast that's left besides Sandra. I know Janelle personally, and my big announcement also involves Bergie. So I'm excited to meet him and get his take on this, because he's part of this and he's a real faithful. And I'm sure he's like, because now his butt's on the line. So I'm sure this like royally is pissing him off. I can't imagine if I was on the show and I was in this position, I would be like pissed. But what
Yeah,
can you
and
do? There's nothing you can do. That's the whole point.
And I just think it's the wrong time to do something like this when you're building up so much momentum from episode to episode. Like, I
Right.
think episode 5, episode 6, that was the climax of the season so far, and I
Yeah.
felt like we really just kind of lost a lot of that. I mean, I was getting texts from people throughout the week saying that they were starting to lose a little, maybe not lose interest, but they were like, I'm a little curious to see how this is going to go because we've lost some of the big characters already. They felt like some of that momentum, some people were on the fence about where this goes from here, and I don't think this episode really helps in that regard.
Yeah. No, but same thing happened on our season. Like we lost some big characters early on, We
Yeah.
lost Reza day one. He was like one of the biggest personalities. And then you're losing Ryan and you're losing Kyle. I mean, I remember Kyle saying, like, this show's gonna suck if we keep losing all these great personalities. And I was thinking to myself, he's right. Because all the other people that were left, like the MJs and the Kevins, who are
Hmm.
quiet, just stick around because they fly under the
Yeah.
radar. So it'll be fine. It's still going to be a fantastic
Oh,
show. It already
absolutely.
is. And you still have big personalities in there and you still have a lot of game left. And, you know, there's so many more twists and turns that we don't even know about that are probably coming. So I think it's going to be really awesome.
Oh, I agree
Um,
with you. I think it's going to continue to get better. I just think that this
yes,
was the weakest point in the season so far.
100%. One of my favorite relationships that's forming that I've seen forming for a long time. Do you know what I'm going to say?
You're going to talk about Phaedra and CT.
Oh my gosh, I can't even take it. And then his interview, he's like, I mean, she wants to light my torch. I'm not going to say no. I'm like, I can't even take it with him and her. So funny. They are like the lovebirds of the lovebirds that are unspoken lovebirds. And I love it. I love it.
Yes, she protects CT at the. I don't even. I feel like they need a name for whatever that fire exercise was. It felt a lot
I
to
know,
me like
right?
a team building activity that you go on in junior high, like a youth group retreat or something like
Yeah.
that, where it's like,
Yeah.
all right, go say something nice about someone else and what you
Right.
like about them and light their torch kind of thing.
Right. Speaking of that, though, I really do think MJ goes next. Which, if they were smart, they'd probably get
Mm.
rid of Bergie or something because he's like Peter's right hand man. But I think it's going to be like an MJ.
Why do you
Just
think
so
that?
Phaedra, I don't know, because I think Phaedra's in the hot seat too, and I think she will want them to think like, well, if I was a traitor, I would never murder MJ, just like I'd never murder like Tamara, a housewife. So I think she's going to do that because
Hmm.
Peter and Bergie are like the obvious ones to get rid of because they're onto them. So
Well, they
I
can't get
think,
Peter. They've got
no,
four
I
options
know,
here.
but that's his
Yeah.
right hand man. So
There's
it's too
Trishelle,
obvious.
Bergie, MJ, and Kate. Those are the four.
Trishelle, for some reason, I don't have a feeling. Like, I feel like people might start flipping and maybe thinking she's a traitor or something. I don't know.
Hmm.
Or think
I
maybe
hope
she
you're
could be
right. I
recruited.
do not want to lose Trishelle. I think she's one of the best
I know.
characters
I
that we have
love
left on here.
Trishelle. I love, love, love. I love her outfits. I love her wit. I love her charm. I love everything about her on the show. I don't want her to go either, trust me. But I don't know. And she's so nervous, which means she
Yeah.
really does. There's a lot we're not seeing.
That
And the
was making
fact
me
that
nervous.
me too. And then when CT didn't, why did he save John? Like no one's freaking on to John. What is he thinking?
This is a CT move. This is why CT is a little bit of a, I
Is he a
wouldn't say
wild card?
controversial figure, polarizing. Like CT has a long history on the challenge of just
See,
kind
I
of
don't
going
watch
wherever the
that. Yeah.
he has
Like
a
I don't,
history of going wherever the wind blows in terms of there was a time where on Rivals 2 he kind of strung along his ex-girlfriend to get a vote from her to protect him and then he kind of ditched her after that. And like there's just a he does this stuff all the time where he kind of
okay.
uses the friendships for protection and then doesn't really offer the same kind of protection in that way. So I think
Okay.
that's
Okay.
kind of why Trishelle was probably so upset is
So
because
hurt. Yeah.
she's seen him do this to other people. she had probably thought that maybe CT had turned over a new leaf, and I don't know the comprehensive history between the two of them.
Right.
Maybe there was a time that he did something like this to her already, but it's a CT thing, and maybe he's better at separating game from personality or from like personal than the rest of us are. But
Right.
I don't understand what really value that protecting John, and he didn't vocalize it well at all. He just sort of
There's
said
got to
like,
be, this reminds me when I was on Guatemala and it looked like Judd just took me on a reward and I slit his throat right after. That was not how it played out. And that's what it looked like. And really, the underlying was Rafe wanted Judd gone because of blah, 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 blah. And I was in a numbers alliance with blah, blah, blah. And I had to go with the numbers. So I don't know. Maybe him and John have something going on that we just haven't seen yet. And that's why he did that. I don't know. But I
the
mean, unless,
difference
like you
though
said, he
is,
does that all the time. Like, I'm a very loyal person. I
yeah,
played a much different game on Guatemala than I did on Palau because I had to. I was with a group that I was being loyal to. Really, I was mainly just with Rafe and I was letting him make all the decisions, but I bore the brunt of it.
yeah.
So I don't know. It's
We'll talk
interesting.
about at some point. We'll talk about Guatemala in greater detail. But Rafe did a good job of taking a lot of power away from you and keeping you
Yeah.
from being able to. Because I know you would have liked to go to the end with Judd, but you couldn't really do a whole lot to flip that vote. Um, and then like there were other points in that season. So like that though was a group decision that you went along with. CT had an
Right.
individual decision to make
Yes.
here,
Yes.
and with Judd, you had only known Judd for like 30 days. This is someone that CT has known for 20
I
years.
know.
So
That's
you
crazy.
can't blame Trishelle for being hurt by this.
No, not at all. Not, it sounds like they've had some rocky ups and downs to begin with. And she thought they were finally like, you know, fixing that trust there. And he just blew it all again. So now it's interesting. Like she either has to go and be out of the equation for him, or if she sticks around, now does she like even trust him? And then what's going on with Sandra? Like at first I was like, oh man, she is like totally against that faithfuls group and totally against Peter. I was starting to believe. But now she says, I don't know, maybe Peter is like 100% faithful, the most faithful of the faithfuls that I crack up every time she says that. Like it's my favorite line. Um, do you think she's going to flip Sandra and go with the most faithful of the faithfuls?
I don't think she's firmly in either group. I think this is a Sandra. We're talking about how people play. Like CT made a CT move. This is the Sandra playbook. I mean, she positions herself well to go where the numbers are,
Yeah,
or be in the driving seat and make a decision when it's a 3-3. Three people on one side, three on the other, and she can decide which group she wants to go with. She's
right.
probably I think she's in the best position of any faithful out there, because she has that ability to do that. And Trishelle vocalized this when they had their little Faithful of the Faithfuls meeting, where Trishelle says, CT, basically, the way that she laid this out is you got the Faithful of the Faithfuls. I got my note sheet here. Peter, Trishelle, John, Kevin, Bergie. Those are your five faithfuls. Those are hardcore faithfuls. Then you got what CT I think referred to as the Queen's Court later, um, which is Phaedra, MJ, Sheree, Parvati, and Kate. Although I think Parvati's just kind of floating over there because she's obviously with Phaedra and she needs some protection, and Phaedra's got some numbers over here. And this is really a Bravo group. It's four Bravo people. And then Trishelle said that CT and Sandra are the swings in the middle.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. Huh. Well, it's going to all depend on who gets murdered and where the numbers fall now.
So it's interesting because, as you mentioned, there's a lot of talk here early in the episode about the numbers. So we'll start with the faithful of the faithfuls. There's a debate here about Trishelle is onto this whole Phaedra's a traitor thing. And
Hmm.
her whole point is if we get Parvati out, Phaedra's going to recruit another one of her Bravo people,
Hmm.
and they're going to have even more power. and that's a group that's pretty strong intact. Whereas Parvati isn't super tight with that group. It'd be
Mm-hmm.
easier to throw her under the bus, maybe later on. But Parvati is, she said, basically said, is a dead woman walking. Everybody knows she's a traitor.
Mm-hmm.
We'll talk about that, I'm sure. Um, so she's saying like, let's get Phaedra out now while we still got this number advantage because any one of us is probably gonna get murdered next.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a big vote coming up. And then Peter, he's arguing, he's like, I got this big plan. We have got to get Parvati out now.
Yeah.
And this is
Yeah.
where this is something we see a lot on Survivor, where you've got a group and one move might be the best move for that particular person, and then
Mm-hmm.
another move might be the better move for that particular person. Because I think Trishelle is 100% right, but I
Yeah, I think
also
she's got a
think,
great point, but if they don't get rid of Parvati, Peter's
well,
dead after this
yeah,
round.
exactly. So
So,
Peter is like, for me personally, like I need Parvati out of this game because she's gonna murder me,
right,
and it's a dumb move. I think it's
which
honestly
is
kind
so
of petty because
obvious.
it's like
Yeah.
I feel like it's honestly petty because she knows she's gonna lose, and there's kind of this heat between the two of them. So I may as well take
Yeah.
him out while
Well,
I'm
it
going
doesn't
out.
matter because if they take out Phaedra, Parvati's still, after this round, if he doesn't get another shield, going to murder Peter. Then they're going to take out Parvati, but it depends on who Parvati recruits. And then they're going to know there's one left.
So at
So,
this point,
one way
yeah,
or the other, Peter, if Peter doesn't allude to being on to Phaedra, he may stay safe. If they can get rid of Parvati, he can go further. Trishelle has a great point because she knows. She knows it's both of them. But if she voices that about Phaedra to anybody, she's done. Like she's going to be in the hot seat next. So she
yeah.
needs to keep that quiet.
Well, then the other thing that was really interesting is they're having this meeting of the five of them, and they're not including anybody in the conversation, which
Right.
makes 100% sense from their strategy and trust perspective,
Right.
but it
But
also
it's pissing
puts,
everyone else off. I mean, that is like unbelievable. That's what cracks me up with Parvati, who just goes in there and is just like, don't mind me, just trying to make friends because everybody hates me, basically, which is hysterical. Like it's actually hysterical. Like she's freaking calling it right out. Um, and they're like, no, close the door. We need, I mean, Kyle Cook did do that to Christian once, which I think was a little bit of his demise because Christian came in like a labradoodle and he was like, hi, can I talk? And Kyle was like, can you give us a minute? Just give us 1 minute and like close the door on him. He's like, oh God, every time I turn around, he's just like there, you know? So I know how that feels, like being in the group and like pushing that person out. And it's shady, man, because then people start coming after you. And I think they're pissing off Sandra and they're pissing off
yeah.
Kate and MJ. Well, Kevin's in that group, right? And all those other people that are like in there.
Well, this is
Phaedra.
bad gameplay on their part because this is like on Survivor where it's basically like, hey, we got our five over
Yeah.
here,
Yeah.
and we actually what we really need is 7 or 8 in order to get this
Yeah.
vote. And
Right.
by then going to these people later and saying, hey, come on, we need your vote, it's like, well, clearly I'm on the bottom of this
I
alliance, and this
know.
is a social game.
I know. I mean, I think they have CT over there that is just kind of like a floater, acting
Yeah,
as a
CT and
floater. So they
Sandra,
have
those are the
CT.
floaters. Yep.
No, they like have, I think they have CT
Okay, you
100% because
think
CT
CT's
and
in with them
John,
totally?
and well, he pissed Trishelle off for 5 seconds, but he's in with Trishelle and he's in with John because he saved them. Not like John needed saving. So what is it? 5? There's 6 of them. So who's on the other side? Phaedra, Sandra. Sandra will flip in a heartbeat if she needs numbers.
Sa- Sandra, they kind
MJ
of posed. Yeah,
and Cherie.
Sandra, MJ, Phaedra, Sheree, Parvati, and Kate. It's kind of like that
Oh,
group.
Parvati and Kate. So it's like 6v6. So basically,
But
Sandra
but
is the swing
Sandra's
vote.
a swing. Sandra's a swing, and CT is kind of up for grabs too. I think CT would go with the faithfuls, but I think those two are kind of like the on the fence people.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, if you put CT there, it's 6v6 even. So they're going to have to murder one of them. So now it becomes 6v5. and production basically screwed the faithfuls because they couldn't get rid
Yeah.
of a traitor.
Huge screw job. Not a fan of it
Yeah,
personally.
yeah, that sucked.
Really wish we could have gotten something here because I thought we were on pace for another great episode. Like I thought the first half hour of this was phenomenal. I
Yeah.
thought that the mission was really funny. Like I loved when Peter gets dunked in the he ends up running into the mud puddle, and the like tone is set when Trishelle is like, I thought it was so funny. I was like laughing at it.
Watching this Bachelor in the mud. My favorite was John and Parvati, though. I mean, Parvati was like trying so hard to be so nice and sweet to him and turn on the charm. And she's like, listen, I need more people to like me in this game. Maybe I can flip John. And she kept saying, are you okay? Checking on him. And just him running like a penguin is like hilarious because he like doesn't bend his knees and he
No.
just waddles. It's just so funny. That challenge was hysterical. And then they go up in these birds' nests. And you hear screaming. Like that is so funny. That was a great
It was
challenge.
it was a great challenge. Loved it. Let's see what else. Parvati is really not doing well. I think she I mean this is a thing. This isn't just a one episode thing. But oh my goodness, at the breakfast where she's like, "All right, who got recruited?"
Yeah. But honestly, I like that she's doing that because she is dead in the water and she is still there. They know she's a traitor and she's just like, I'm not going to like act. I would be shaking in my boots, like, oh, they think I'm a traitor. How am I going to like? I would just be trying to be like nice to everybody. She's just like, screw it. She's like, all right, who got the
Yeah.
letter? Somebody got recruited. And like she's just calling it out. Do you know how hard? I'm not that type of person. I don't really call stuff out unless I really like get backed against a wall. So I don't know, maybe I would, but I think it's hilarious that she's actually just saying it. And Peter is like, and it looks like Peter's so nervous. And her thought process is she's like, maybe I can flip it. I mean, she's not gonna, but she's like, maybe I can flip it and make it look like because now he's going to say, he's going to pull a Christian and be like, I got recruited. I'm telling you the truth. I mean, he already whispered it to John at the table. John was like,
He just said, I'm gonna talk to you later." I honestly don't feel that way though. I don't think Peter seems nervous at all in these confrontations. I think he's holding his
I,
own.
oh, he is. But I felt like sitting there at the breakfast, he looked a little nervous.
Really,
Like, I think he
I didn't
wanted to
sense that.
say, but I thought he did. But I think he's
I
doing a
thought
great
he,
job. I
yeah,
think they're going to believe him over Trishelle because he already had the mastermind plan to begin with, which got a
yeah.
traitor out. So I think they're going to go with him again on this, and it's going to be Parvati. It's not going to be Phaedra. Trishelle brings up a great point, though. Either way, both are right. They've got these traitors pinned.
I thought he played it cool. I thought he did a good job. I think Parvati's doing a really bad job, and it's good TV. But I think she knows she's done, so I
Oh,
don't
she
think she really
knows.
cares. I don't think she really cares. She's just gonna kind of, play up the not be very nice to people. Phaedra tells her, "You
Oh,
need to be
that's
more
hilarious
nice.
when Phaedra
You need
tells
to
her
be
that.
more lovable."
I know. She's like giving her a lesson on niceness and charm. And she's like, really? She's like, well, I'm really trying. I mean, everybody here hates me, or whatever she said. That was hysterical. I was like, oh, these two are having a heart to heart while they're murdering someone. Hey, let's
Parvati
bring
does.
Bam in to
Oh,
talk
he's not
about.
here yet.
Oh, okay. I thought we had to bring him in. Okay, that's fine.
Oh,
Um,
he's getting in. We'll bring him in a second. He just yeah.
okay.
Couple more things. Um, yeah, I just thought that with some of these lines, she keeps saying she can manipulate Peter. She's not able
Yeah.
to. She's trying to.
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
says, "We got a traitor in the house." She says, "Raise your hand if you got the letter." No one's playing along. I don't think she's played it well at all. Maybe she's past the point of caring, but
I think it's a lot of wishful thinking. I think she's delusionally positive, which is great. Like, whatever. At least she's not laying down and being walked all over, like a doormat.
so, is there
Some
anything else before we bring Bam in on this episode that we should comment on before we get his opinions on things?
No, because he's gonna want to talk about all this too. So we're gonna probably talk about all this again.
Well, he's going to add a unique perspective
That's
as
right.
he knows what it's like to be murdered early by one of his
Yeah,
best friends.
sucks.
All right, Bam, we're bringing you in right now. Oh, he's already flexing. He's already flexing.
Oh, there he is.
I'm getting
There he
ready. I'm
is.
getting ready for the cruise, Steffi.
Oh, yeah. We only have a year to plan. We only have a year to get in shape now.
That's
Come
it.
on.
That's it.
Don't do it all in one day.
What's up? What's up, Jack?
How we doing, Bam? We're good friends, right? Wouldn't you say we're good friends?
Yeah. We're good friends. My real question is, who you putting money on?
Who am I putting money on? On what? The Super Bowl?
Yeah, the Super Bowl. There's only one important game. That's Sunday.
Okay. We'll do a Super Bowl picks now because you're bringing us here, Bam. Bam, by the way, we should mention, first of all, great to have Bam back on. We had him on last summer. We did like 2 hours together. We just talked and talked and talked. And I feel like, that's the thing with all of us here. We can all just talk. We're Italians and Puerto Ricans. Like we're
That's it. It's a good time.
loud and ignorant.
And I'm gonna keep it PG-13 this time.
Me too. I
Very
already dropped
good.
an S. I caught myself. I dropped an
I'm
S
not trying to
word.
burn the next time I go to church.
Just light a
All right.
candle. Go to confession. You'll be good.
So Bam played football at Syracuse. There are a number of NFL players that he's played with and against. So I really wanted to have him on Super Bowl week. So I look forward to hearing his thoughts.
And actually,
give you
one
mine.
Travis Kelce when we played against them at Cincinnati. So,
No, so you played against Travis Kelce?
yep,
How about
we
that?
did. We did.
Wow.
No biggie, Steph. I'm washed though at this point. I just struggled to get up this morning, and like one side feels longer than the other for no reason. Like I like cracking my knuckles. I'm a hot mess right now.
Listen, that's years of being a big time athlete. It wears on you.
That's it. I mean, I'm nothing like your husband because he made the MLB, so that's where the washed up part comes.
He's got all kinds of cracking and things going on, and dad bod and all the things. Don't you give him too much credit.
He's married an Italian, so I'm sure you whip him in shape.
As he's golfing right now. And I'm like, do you know how many things I'm doing? We gotta get.
What did I miss?
Steph, wouldn't you say he's a Rob right now instead of a Robert?
He's a Rob. We had a whole conversation about you because Jack, again, you're his best friend, and you're one of my really good friends. And I'm like, Jack, can we talk about like your idea of really good friends? Anyway, you'll have to listen. You have to watch it. We had a whole, and then he's
Jack,
like,
don't be a hoe. You can only have so many best friends. Okay.
Right? I'm like, Jack, maybe it's different age groups. I'm like, I don't call many people okay. Anyway, so then he's like, do you even know Bam's like real name? And I'm like, actually, no, I don't think I do, but I'm sure you do because you're his best friend, but whatever. But then I was like, wait, isn't it like Robert or something? And I did know it. So then we went into a whole thing.
Here's the Spanish part, Steffi. It's actually Roberto.
I love that. I was like my Puerto Rican best friend. I love that.
It. We make you feel safe but dangerous at the same time.
That's right. That's right. They keep their friends close and their enemies close.
Everyone needs a Puerto Rican friend. Like
everybody. Because listen, they got your back, I bet.
They do.
It's like an Italian. I'll have your back. Wait, so then we named you Rob when you don't wear. He's like, I don't really see Robert. And I was like, yeah, when he wears the glasses and he's got the fedora, that's Robert.
I have it right here.
No, I said you could be a Rob, and then she said you're a Robert when you have the glasses and the fedora.
Yes.
Yeah,
and I was like,
that's a business Rob right there.
That's Robert. And then Rob is like no glasses, flexing his muscles, the hat. Now you're Rob.
So what's Bam then?
I don't know. Bam's just Bam. Bam's going on the cruise with me. And we're going to be doing all kinds of.
All right, guys, give the announcement. We'll come back to the football later. Give the announcement.
Oh, yeah. You guys never picked. Okay, Bam. We got big news coming.
We do.
Big news already. They probably already know about it because they follow us on our socials, and everybody watching right now already knows.
Team
That's
Bam
right.
all the way. So we'll be
Team Bam.
Year. We'll be on the Royal Caribbean Oasis, right?
That's right.
Heading
Oasis
to
of the
Caribbean
Seas.
for a murder mystery cruise where you get to hang out with 13 of your traitor buddies.
That's right.
Season 1 and 2. Each one of us will have our own dedicated team.
That's right.
Obviously, you want to join Team Bam for the competitiveness and the good time.
My best friend, Puerto Rican. My best Puerto Rican friend, Team Bam. Oh,
and then once
Bam,
my team
Bam.
fills up, you can go to Team Steph. You know,
Steph, the best Italian on the whole cruise. Yeah.
But you get a chance to win $50K, so that's the big prize.
That's right. That's right. So we are hosting Traitors that we're not allowed to say, Traitors cruise, basically. And we're gonna play the game of Traitors on the cruise. You can win up to $50,000 and hang out with us. And it's not just the game. We're not just gonna do the game. We're gonna dance and go to the pool and hang out and go to shows and go to the beach. And Bam's gonna host a workout with his
unlimited
muscles.
Drinks and margaritas.
And we're gonna drink some margs. That's right. And we're gonna bang out some push-ups. That's right.
Cannonballs.
And it's going to be amazing.
Water slide.
So you guys, but you do have to sign up. There's only 100. Actually, there's 105 spots per team. There's only 100 spots-ish per team. There's 13 of us. It's me, Bam, Rachel, Janelle's coming, Bergie's coming, Michael, a whole bunch. There's a whole crew of us.
Your Survivor girl's coming?
Sandra. I'm so excited. Sandra just signed on. So go
Good
to
Puerto Rican
Cruise.
friend.
Another Puerto Rican. Good Puerto Rican friend to have.
Balance out.
Cruise.
Balancing out.
Cruiseofdeception.com. She's the female, you're the male. Cruiseofdeception.com if you guys want to come on this cruise with us next April, 2025. And it's actually selling out. Like, it's really, like, people are booking like crazy. So I'm really excited about it.
So you guys are obviously very excited. Before we get back into the episode, I think we got to have a ESPN first take here. I need you guys shouting at each other. Why is your team, Bam, why are you a better captain and a better team than Stephenie?
I wouldn't say better because I don't want to end up on a milk carton, and disappear and end up as a Netflix documentary. But,
Bam, why can't we work together? Why can't we work together here and just make sure our teams fill up immediately?
No, we're definitely going to leverage each other's teams for sure. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter whose teams you're on. It's going to be a good time. You're going to see us for who we are, normal people that happen to get picked for some cool experiences. And, you get to hang out with us for 7 days in the water, pretty much.
And that's what I told people. Like, so many people are messaging me, friends, family, even just anybody. Just people are DMing me. And I'm like, listen, if you don't want to sign up on my team, I don't care. I'm still going to hang out. We're all going to hang out. Like, that's the thing. It's going to be one big party. Yeah, and then there's going to be competition.
If you're not taking shots with us at the pool or going face first down the water slide, you're doing it wrong. You know what I mean? I may have some short shorts on, cheetah print, that has, name tag band. Things might get crazy.
I mean,
Michael, have to be there to see it.
Michael already has his fanny bag ready to go. Like, he's already wearing it. And Christian is going to be in his tighty whities. I can't even take it.
I'm sure
this is going to be. I went to the Savannah Bananas last night and I was like this. Can Christian play baseball? Because I can so see him doing the things. I saw so many grown men twerking. I was like, my son is going to be the principal's office tomorrow because he's going to be twerking and doing all this. I was like, oh.
I always see their videos on social media. It's actually fun, right?
It was the most entertaining. Yeah. I was like, this is way better than normal baseball. And my husband was a baseball player. It's so much more fun. Oh my gosh, it was great. But no, seriously, we just need you to sign up for the cruise, either on Team Bam or Team Steph. Get on the cruise. There's a lot of people are going to win. There's winners from each team. So it comes down to a winner on each team. And then on the last day, they all go head to head for one final winner. Yep. Or, I mean, if they get all the traitors out, which I don't know how they're going to do that. Because you're not going to know the people on the other team. You're going to have one day to be like, you're shady, you're a traitor, get out. Anyway, so the faithfuls could take it. So it could be multiple people as winners. But the details are on the website. So check it out because we didn't really fully explain it.
Cruiseofdeception.com, right?
Tom, yes. Yes, Cruise of Deception.
Cruiseofdeception.com.
And it's on Oasis of the Seas, which is supposed to be a gorgeous ship. And it sails through the Caribbean. We're going to Jamaica out of Fort Lauderdale. Yeah.
So
check it out.
Very exciting things coming down the pipeline for these guys is in 2025 in the spring. You want to sign up now. Bam, what'd you think of the episode last night?
my my honest opinion,
Yes.
I think they extended the season by not killing anyone in that episode.
Right. Production got involved.
That's it.
Right.
Because they're on to them. And Dan really threw the wrench when he threw Phaedra in there. Because it was so funny as I was watching the show with Nikki, my wife, I was like, watch him throw Phaedra. And she's like, no. I'm like, he's gonna do it, because if he sells them hard enough and they vote her out, then in his mind, he's like, hey, I would never vote out a traitor. You know what I mean? And it's going to buy him time. But since he still got voted out, Trishelle was right on the money, because she's actually smart. She's like she's the silent killer, and the Faithfuls are kind of dumb not protecting her over Pete, because at the end of the day, Pete, I want to call him Pistol Pete, but Pilot Pete, he's like a shield, right? Like, and she's really like, she's on it. And
she is, but
I think if they allowed a banishment to happen, they would have got the survivor girl. Sorry, what's her name? Parvati, yeah. They would have got Parvati out, and then Trishelle would have turned them on Phaedra.
Right.
Now, I think they thought that Pete was going to convert to Traitors, and quite frankly, I probably would have converted. I don't know, Steph.
I know. Well, his personality, I called it. I was like, he's not going to take it.
Yep.
But I probably would have taken it, because if you don't, you're getting you might not be, you're not next, but you might be the one after next. Like, you're getting murdered at some point.
But here's the difference of the game. In our season, you're taking it. In this season, you have a chance to win a shield.
Yeah.
And like, you and I are built to compete, right? Hence why you pick us on the cruise. You and I are built to compete. So like, if I know my ass is on the line, I'm chasing.
You're going all out. Yeah.
I'm getting that shield. Like, you're not going to get me with a net, because I'll cut that net. Like, you're not going to get me on the waxy mud, because I'll swim out of that. But like, I think he knew, like, he was ready to sacrifice himself. But I think that whole episode was a wash. It like,
he still could have taken it and said, like, I got recruited, you guys, and I would never turn on you, and lied right to their faces, which is what these games are. And I know it's everything he's not. And maybe he just feels he couldn't have lied well enough. I was that way at one time.
He was acting like the kid that was like, when a kid like accomplishes something, wants to only tell like their friends, you know what I mean? Like,
that whole in the room with the 5 people, like, no, you can't come in. How would that have gone down on our season? If only like 5 people. I would
told him to kick rocks or F off.
I'm sitting right here. Go ahead, talk. And I'm going to follow you around the castle. Like, that's how that would have went on our season with our people.
Ex-girlfriend for sure.
Right?
No, but I think, if, to your point, if he exposed it that morning, all eyes would have been on her.
100%.
Her only flip could be like, hey, there's no way it's a coincidence that you call out 2 traitors in a row.
Right.
And
but because he didn't expose it, Parvati really tried to be like, all right, well, somebody got recruited. Who was it? And she was really trying to like.
She's a game player. I mean, you could tell that girl can manipulate, break feelings, hurt feelings.
Oh yeah, she's
a heartbreaker for sure.
She'll leave no stone unturned. I mean, they're onto her, but it doesn't matter. Like, she doesn't even care. I mean, Phaedra's telling her to be nicer in the turret. She's like, you have to be a little nicer.
But Phaedra knows
I'm going to make
a
prediction, guys. I'm going to make a prediction and say Parvati is not going to be nicer next episode. I don't think it's going to happen.
100% not. Definitely not.
Tear that castle apart. That's why they're playing the games, the numbers game right now.
That's why. So we were trying to figure that out. So I personally, they're saying CT and Sandra are swings. I think Sandra's more with the Bravos and the Phaedra and that group. And I think CT is with Trishelle and John. So right now, I think it's even. I think there's 12 left. I think there's 6 and 6. And one of them has to go because they freaking missed the whole round table. So it's going to be who's going to go. It's going to be Trishelle or Bergie or like an MJ.
Right.
One of them are going to go. They're
I
going to
say
be.
MJ was going because I think
I
she's
think
like
MJ's going too.
I think she's
I
the
hope it's
least.
MJ.
She's in the bottom of the poll on the Bravo side, and
Yeah.
you know, like she's kind of sacrificial in that sense, right?
Right. I mean, it's smart to get rid of Bergie because he's Pete's right-hand man and he's on to them, but then it's so
Right.
obvious.
Right.
So now,
But you
Phaedra
gotta
doesn't
make sure
know.
you don't ruin the numbers. Like they still have the numbers. There's I think what 7-5 or something like that. So
Yeah, well, I think it's 6 and 6, but I mean, if CT's really with them and Sandra's with them, do you know what I mean?
right.
I think
But
it's
does
5-5 with CT and Sandra still like it's
as
kind of
the
like
swing, right?
they're voting independent. Their votes are up for grabs, kind of deal.
Sandra is totally with the Bravos because she calls them the faithful of the faithfuls, and she's not part of it. So she's totally like with the Bravos. Now I think she can be swayed.
Yeah,
Sandra will go with the
the game.
numbers.
I think she's playing the game like Suri.
Yeah.
Sandra?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Phaedra was in the beginning. But she's drawn the line clear that she's with them, I think now. Sandra 100% is playing like
Bam, this is
Suri.
interesting. So you're saying that you think if Suri was a faithful, this is how she would be playing it.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. Like when you meet Suri, she's like your favorite aunt or like your big sister. Like she's harmless. And like from a competition standpoint, she doesn't come off as threatening, right? So it's like you keep her around, right? And until that, until the end, that's when she plays her cards. So, and that's kind of what Sandra's doing. Like,
Sandra just started doing a little gameplay.
When you see that numbers, how her brain is starting to work, I was like, it's not a coincidence that Suri chose Andy and Quentin. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, that is not a coincidence.
Right.
Like,
no.
because Suri already knew she had the numbers with you and Rachel because, you guys kind of came in as an alliance, right? So she needed 2 from like the new faces, right? That she was able to manipulate. Now she has 5. So if you do the numbers, you're picking them apart one by one. She knew who were gonna get eliminated from the beginning, right? Like Brandy, I think Kate probably lasted longer than many expected. Even when I got eliminated, I thought Kate was the one that was going to get murdered that day so that I could blow up Cody the next day. So it's like her number game was exactly how you play it. But I still believe being a traitor is way easier than being a faithful.
Well, you just have an advantage. You have a huge advantage. You have a built-in alliance, solid
cancel
alliance.
the banishment when you're going to go home.
Oh my gosh, that was like unbelievable. Now, wait, does Phaedra know Trishelle's onto her or no?
No.
Okay.
No. Trishelle just mentions it to her, and I think only like to Pete and Bergie. You know what I mean? Like, hey, we should go after Phaedra because she's the queen of that group, right?
Yeah.
And the way she's playing it is, really smart. But I think on that side, they know she's smart. Like they know that like she's with the boys, essentially, right? And she got really butthurt when CT did not pick her.
It was terrible. I know, we talked about that. What's the deal with him and John? Who knew him and John were so close? Well, John's not even like a threat.
John. Oh my God.
You don't even know. He doesn't even know who John is. Because like Kevin. Who's Kevin?
You know what, John? Have you ever seen? This sounds terrible. I shouldn't say it, but I'm gonna say it.
Oh, here he goes.
When John is running, he reminds me of a toddler that needs to go use the bathroom.
I said penguin.
He's like a tippy toe runner. He's a tippy toe runner.
He doesn't bend his knees.
That's not even the worst thing that you and I have talked about on this podcast before.
No.
We're talking about like Aaron
like
Hernandez and OJ Simpson as like people they should cast on the Traitors.
Oh, that was we'll have to bleep out that name over there, Jack.
It's fine.
Yeah, no, I think if like when people watch the Traitors because they want to see a banishment or a murder, right?
Yeah.
and when we just watched something that was just a tease of the inevitable,
Yeah.
like you just feel like you got, the carpet pulled from underneath you a little bit.
I know. That was brutal.
I
I mean,
think it would have worked
Parvati should
better.
be thanking her lucky stars, actually.
Lucky producers. I think one way
Seriously.
that this would have worked out better if this was like last season where they dropped the whole season as a binge. So
Right.
maybe they don't realize that you cannot do this on a reality show where people are waiting a whole week to watch a show, and then you've got a nothing episode where you get no outcome. Like if you're dropping the whole series as a binge, you could have an extra hour of that. Like that's acceptable because then you just move on, you watch the next episode, and you forget about
Right.
it.
I wonder if they'll like lose viewership this week between this week and next. Like if people will be that pissed off, like I'm not watching anymore. They didn't get to banish anybody.
They just did the press tour over here in New York.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. It's like I'm getting more followers, more messages just on the show. Just I think they've done such a phenomenal job on season 2.
Yeah.
On the marketing aspect of it, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. They have the postmortem. They're doing a ton more interviews with the contestants.
Yep.
A lot more socials. Yeah, definitely.
Like they even had commercials during football. Like I think I was watching one of the playoff games and there was a commercial. There weren't any commercials last year.
No.
They're going all. If this is poker, they're going all in. This is
the budget's definitely bigger, I will say.
I mean, the competitions are better, right?
Everything. Yeah.
It was it's cool though. It's cool. Like even from a former contestant, like I definitely become a fan of this show. But I do think they have to even continue to like expand and think outside the box, and they have to keep consistent with murders and banishments.
I was talking to Jack about this earlier, and I said, we're all mad from a fan standpoint, right? That nobody got murdered, or banished. But there's so much show left. There's going to be so many more twists, I bet, that we're like, where the hell did that come from? You know?
Right.
But it is such a good show. I mean, I can't wait till like the next episode comes out. So, and my kids are so into it.
I felt that way every week, and now I'm just kind of like, okay, like when we get to Tuesday, Wednesday, I'll start getting excited, but I don't feel excited. Like I'm not like counting the days down to next week, which I had felt all season long. I got a question for you, Bam, because we only have so much time, and then Steph's going to do a little bit of listener questions. So I want to ask you this. If you were playing on this season, how would you be playing maybe different from how you didn't really get a chance to play the first time around, but if you were on this season, what would you be doing?
Yeah, so here's the thing. Season 1, I was vocal. Like, obviously, I knew the contestants, right? But, I didn't know, like, I don't know reality TV. Like, I feel like after the show, I was like, oh, let me watch Survivor. Let me watch Big Brother, like.
Right.
And so, like, I relied on people to tell me who was who, and I think that would have helped me going into the game. I knew obviously Ryan and Cody and even Steph, because my dad watches Survivor, and I knew Cody from his one season. But other than that, like I didn't really know of these shows. So like I wish the one regret I have is I wish I was more aggressive on night 1 when I knew it was Cody. Because I think if I called out Cody night 1 when after the whole Shield event, that would have like changed the whole dynamic of the game.
Right.
Now in this season, I would have been aggressive because I'm going for those shields.
Right.
Like every
and
time.
You're probably winning them too.
Right. Like I'm going for the shields. You know what I mean? So like it allows me at least the opportunity not to like go to bed at night knowing that I'm not going to get murdered the next day. And then really do some, Inspector Gadget type of stuff. Because on the first season, I just stayed quiet, listened, and like observed, and that allowed me to identify Cody. I just got murdered right before I was going to do it.
I mean, I was the same way because it's hard. If you're like that vocal, outspoken, I mean, you're kind of damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. And it was the first time the show had ever been done. I mean, they have ours to go off of and all these other seasons. We got what, 2 seasons from Amsterdam or whatever it was that you had to read the subtitles while you were watching. You couldn't even watch the show, you know? So it was like a brand
everyone that
new
was vocal in
thing.
our season died. Like
That's the thing. Like Reza was gone. Like all the loudmouths were gone fast. Kyle was gone. Like, because Kyle was catching on. As soon as I started saying and really speaking, I was gone. Rachel was gone. So it's
the game is just different. The game is just different. Like
it's a hard game to play if you're faithful. Right. I mean, it's hard as a traitor because you have to keep up with the lie and the facade of it all, which Cody just was like me on Snake in the Grass. I knew from day one too, because the way he was acting. But and his manner is in the car, driving places, and at the challenges versus in the castle, he was like a different person constantly.
And
like,
Jack, the reality is I needed my ally to protect me. Right? Like I needed Christian to protect me. And I've always had a sense that it was either him or Quentin, because I was just doing the math. I was like, all right, so we're in the castle with half of celebrities and half new faces. Like the show wants celebrities at the end of it, right? Just because, they're the attraction. Yeah. So like when I was doing the number, I was like, okay, I have this feeling that the majority of the traitors are probably celebrities, and probably one of us is a traitor, right? I mean, one of the new faces is a traitor. So, and then, Christian, how extroverted he was, I'm like, that man is in power, but I feel protected by him because we bonded for days, right? So I was like, all right, at the end of the day, he's going to protect me until I fish out the others. So part of it is luck. Like Sari was protecting Steph, right? And Rachel. So it's just part of it's luck, part of it's who you're getting casted with. But
it's a lot of luck, because he could have protected you longer, but she could have cut our throats sooner.
Right.
It's so much luck involved when you're faithful.
Say like, oh, getting murdered, like, oh, Bam, why? Right? It's like anyone could have been a why at that moment. Right.
And that's what they were doing. They wanted it just to be a why, no rhyme or reason.
Bam, would you say that Marcus Jordan was the Bam of season 2?
Yeah, I think he was smart. I do think he was smart.
Yeah.
He supposedly people love him.
Yeah.
He was like one of the most favorite on that show.
Yeah,
I would say he was
very comparable to my temperament, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And it was a similar murder where it was kind of like presenting to the viewers like, oh, weird, what?
Why?
That doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Yep.
So, all right, Steph, do you have anything else Traitors related for Bam before we move on to the football?
No, we can move on to football. I didn't make a ton of notes.
Are you hosting?
I wish I was. I'm supposed to be in Arizona right now, and unfortunately I'm not out there quite yet. I'm supposed to be out in Arizona for like 2 months. I was planning on going to a Super Bowl party, hanging out with some friends out there. So I've got nothing going on. It's pretty sad.
Don't tell me best friends, just normal friends.
Not as good as friends as you guys.
Steph, are you hosting over at the Kendrick's residence?
I am not. I'm in a Valentine's Day golf tournament with my husband, and I loathe golfing. Like, who starts golfing in their 40s? Dumb.
I actually just started. So,
do you like it?
I do. It's very.
It's so frustrating.
Well, here's the thing. My Italian brother-in-law got me. It's like our thing now. And he hyped me up because, like, when I first swung, I had the power, and he was like, all right. And then within like a month, I was like solid. And he was like, I effing hate you because where you at has taken me years. And it's just because of natural, like, I used to play baseball, and so it's just a natural ability.
That's what they say if you're athletic. Yeah.
That's it. So now I'm like, since he like, buttered my biscuit a little bit. Now I'm like, all right, I had to, get the best cleats, gloves, like I got to play the part now.
Yes. People have buttered mine too. And they're like, wow, like not many girls can drive the ball that far. Like if I hit it, if I don't whiff, or if I don't top it, or if I don't slice right, or if all the things, I'm like, thanks. But anyway, we are golfing in a very frustrating lovers golf tournament. And then my friend is hosting. And my son is in a baseball tournament if he's back from 2 hours away. Kyle's brother and sister-in-law are coming and staying with us for a while. And they're actually taking our son to the golf tournament so we can golf. It's already been planned. And then we're going to a party. I'm not hosting, to answer your question.
Got it.
But I'm going to a party.
Let's do the picks. I got a lot of
Okay.
thoughts on golf, but we'll be here too long if we talk golf.
So frustrating.
All right, Bam, you asked me for a pick. Can I turn the tables and let you give a pick first, or do you want me to give the pick?
So it's tough to bet against, Patrick, because he is arguably going to be one of the best quarterbacks to ever do it when his time is done. But this 49ers team they got it. I mean, all facets of the game, offense, defense. I hate how people bash Brock Purdy because, I think we've all been hearing it, game manager, whatever, the weapons around him. But you could say that about any Super Bowl winning team, right? Like Peyton had the team, Brett Favre's had the team, Aaron Rodgers had the teams. So, how do you stop the 49ers? You have the offensive player of the year in Christian McCaffrey. You have Kittles, who's just a beast when it comes to blocking and pass catching. And then you have the X factor in Deebo Samuels and Brandon Ayuk. And then on the defensive end, if you can even get the ball out of your hands when you have Young and Bosa, good luck. So the only way you can ever expose the 49ers on the back end by airing out the ball. But I don't think Patrick Mahomes has the weapons and the consistency to do it. You'll shut down Travis Kelce by, hitting him off the line, right? Because he's getting older. And I could say that because we played the same year. And then you spy Patrick with, the linebackers corps. And then you just let Bosa and Young get after him. Because I don't have the faith in the offensive tackles to hold him up for longer than 2.5 seconds. Was that a good ESPN pitch for you?
That was great. You didn't give a score though.
Score. Wait, let me see what my numbers were. I think
the 49ers are favored by 2 points. I want to say.
I think the 49ers are going to win by 10. To be honest,
I've got them winning by 8. I'm going to say 24-16. I think it's going to be a good day for Harrison Butker. I think it's going to come down to how can they convert in 49ers territory. And like you said, I think I could see a Valdez-Scantling drop, and I can't even. Is Pacheco playing? Is he playing or is he out? Pacheco.
Yeah.
Pacheco's playing. I could see a fumble somewhere. I feel like that. For what you're saying, this is the best Chiefs defense that they've had during this whole run, but it's their worst offense in terms of weapons around Patrick Mahomes. So I think they've taken this thing as far as it can go. I think the NFL is going to be very happy that they got Taylor Swift in the Super Bowl, which
That's
I'm
who's
glad
winning.
you're rolling your eyes.
Taylor Swift.
I am not a hater, but when I see her more than I see the highlights,
I know.
Hate it.
It's crazy.
I hate it.
It's very infuriating.
So I'm going to go 24-16.
I'll just watch her movie on freaking Amazon Prime or whatever.
Right.
It's I want to watch football. Not watch the Notebook on the
agree.
field. You know what I mean?
I know.
I love their love
100%
story.
agree.
It's great, but there's a time and place for it.
Right.
Yeah, I'm over it. I was never into it, so I can't say I'm over it. I just don't care. Not into pop culture stuff.
I think it's hilarious that she was just on the Grammys and there was no mention of him at all. And then at the Super Bowl, all they talk about is her, and at every football game. So it's it's definitely not equal.
No, I mean,
not equal love.
I can guarantee you, not many people knew who was Travis Kelce outside of the football.
No. And then there's that other guy. What's his name? And he's married to Miss America, or dating or engaged, and she's gorgeous, and no one even talks about them. McCaffrey.
Yeah.
And whatever her name is, and nothing about them. Just everything about Taylor.
She has a cult following. It is, but listen, she makes bangers. I mean, from time to time, you'll still hear me singing her songs in the shower. I'm like, it is what it is.
Last night, the Bananas, her old school stuff came on, and I was like, I like the old school Taylor. I don't know about this new stuff.
But
Seriously.
it's a known fact that country music is the #1 genre in the country. So
yeah,
she started her career in country, then went to pop, right? So like,
right.
she's been able to evolve her music into different generations. So like, you literally have little girls and women that are like crying for her, right? So
she's definitely making the NFL a lot of money. Great job, Taylor.
They just said
they love it.
She's generated over $300 million for the NFL.
100%.
And then by her wearing that jacket, I don't know if you saw that, but
diamond one. Does she wear
it's
like a
funky
big
jacket? So one of the football players, his wife makes these custom jackets. Awesome jackets. I actually wanted one, and then until you realize they're thousands and thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
Taylor Swift wore hers. Overnight, this girl gets a licensing deal with the NFL. So it's like the power that she has. I mean, it's good, right? Because there's more eyes on it. But I give her a year or two before she's doing a halftime show.
What happens when they break up?
That song is going to be deadly.
That is going to be unbelievable because I don't see any ring in the future.
If he's not retired by then, that song might drive him to retirement.
Steph, I'm watching the clock for you. I need a pick from you.
A pick for me?
Yeah.
I'm going to go with the Mahomes team.
Kansas City.
Kansas City. Chiefs.
Teaming up with Danny once again.
I'm going to go with my good old ex-best friend, Danny Boatwright, who beat me on Survivor Guatemala. I'm going to Kansas for a volleyball tournament with my daughter for the first time. We're going to try to find Dorothy, and I'm going to root for the Chiefs.
Awesome. Okay, well, Bam, we got to let you go here. We got to run and get to a couple of listener questions. So why don't you throw out your social media or anything you want to plug or promote in addition to the cruise?
Yeah, no. If you want to follow me, it's Robert_Bam_Nieves, like snow. And then, like I said, just come join us at the cruise, so you guys can have a good time with us on the show. And then the first shot will be on me.
Cruise of Deception. Be there, be square. That's going to be fun.
Best friends. We'll talk.
Bye, Bam.
See you, Bam. Thanks, man. My good friend, Bam. All right,
good
Steph,
friend,
that was fun.
Bam.
That was great.
That was fun. He's so awesome. I love him.
He
is so sweet. I loved being around him on the show, too, for the 5 seconds. He was just great. Smart.
He was a good traitor. He was a good
and then he was gone. He was.
You needed him. You needed Amanda, who you lost, and you needed Michael, and you lost all 3 of them. Those guys
I know. They were good ones. They were good ones. And Kyle. Kyle Cook was a really good one.
Yeah.
He was onto it.
Yeah. I wish Kyle Cook was someone they brought back this season. He would have been great.
He would be great. I wish he was coming on the cruise. He's a good time.
We've got Oh, you wish he was coming on the cruise?
Oh my God, he's so much fun.
Okay, so we've only got a few minutes here. We want to get to your listener questions, and we'll do this again next week. So first things first, I got a question here from the Moonwalker 101. Stephenie, if you were to play Traitors again as a faithful, how would you play differently?
I would definitely plant more seeds and be a little more vocal. Not too vocal, but I would be a little more vocal.
This is from an anonymous user. They asked, would Steph ever do the show again? And if so, what would you do differently the second time around? So similar to the first. I
definitely would do Traitors again, and I would love to be a traitor because I have practiced my lying.
What are some tweaks they'll need to make for future seasons?
They got to stop picking the traitors. They've got to do it in front of people at random because it becomes too much of a guessing game for the people. The obvious traitor pick and the obvious not traitor. So you're probably a traitor, and the guy and the girl and the this and the that. So I think they should literally do it at random in front of people and draw out of a hat or whatever.
All right, very good. Stephanie, do you think Traitors US should include civilians in season 3 or keep it to only celebrities going forward, or perhaps an all civilian season and then all celebrities and just trade off? Would love to know your opinion on the format of the show.
I mean, I think an all civilian season would be awesome because it does become a little bit of a, oh, well, you were a celebrity, so you're probably a traitor. Or it was mentioned on our season, you're a celebrity, so you don't need the money. So it was like a whole argument about money and things like that, which was completely ridiculous because some of the civilians on our season were very successful. So I think right now the show is just really getting big, and the celebrities that are on it, even just season 2, are a huge draw for them, and the personalities, and they just know how to bring drama, especially those Bravo types, is very exciting. I think when the show becomes very established, they could do like really mix it up and maybe just do an all civilian season. But I think the biggest draw, and I'm not against civilians. I went on Survivor as a civilian and I loved it because I loved watching fellow civilians just compete in a game type show like that. I do think the big draw is people want to see drama, people want to see arguments, people want to see personalities that they've already watched in other settings play this type of a game. So I think the all celebrity type thing is a bigger draw right now.
I do think so. I think it's big in terms of, oh my gosh, Johnny Bananas and Sandra are on the same show. What's that show? I
Yeah.
gotta watch it. So I think with
Yeah.
building the brand, I think you're dead right. The next one is a question that goes hand in hand with that, and there's only one more after that. And this question is, do you think the show should switch to having 2 seasons a year, or do you prefer it once a year?
Oh, definitely 2 a year. I mean, this is popular. Like it's the number one unscripted reality show out. It just won a Grammy. They've got to go to 2 a year, just like Survivor.
Number one on streaming, by the way.
Yep.
Not
Well,
not it's not outrating the cable shows yet,
it's
or the network
mainly,
shows.
yeah, it is only streamed. I mean, it's supposed to be on NBC, but I still haven't seen it on NBC. Go ahead.
Yeah, no. So I think it'd be cool if we do 2 seasons a year, do the second one in the summertime. Because I think
Hmm.
part of what makes it work is they're taking advantage of this time right now at the start of the year before Survivor starts. I guess it would be running at the same time as Big Brother if it ran in the summer, but I guess they could start it in like mid-May and then run that into Big Brother started like late July, I think, this last season. So
Yeah.
or August. Yeah, do it in the summer. Do that one, and then, like you said, maybe in a couple years we could have the summer season be the civilian season, and then the winter season can be the celebrity
And
season.
I think people love the whole idea of it being in a castle. Like, if I could go back, my wardrobe would be way more dramatic. Like, people do love seeing like what they're coming in as. Even the guys when they come in with the berets and the different suits and the plaids. I mean, and they love Alan's whole look. And then you're like running through mud in these like gorgeous outfits. Like, that's kind of all part of it too, right? Because you really are not acting. You're on a reality show. It's not scripted, but then you're looking like you're, on in some fabulous movie in a castle. So I would up my wardrobe game.
And let's do a like Survivor All Stars. Let's do a Traitors All Stars at some point.
Traitors All Stars would be cool. I do believe they will probably do that after like,
Yeah.
4 or 5 seasons under their belt. They'd probably have enough for like 20 All Stars to come back. That'd be cool. I'd like to partake in that. Traitors, people.
Final question from the listeners. I give you the right to pass on this question if you want. Hi, Steph. Who is the most frustrating Oolong member and why?
I think it was Jolanda, and we got rid of her very early. And that's why we got rid of her immediately. She was just way too mouthy. And the whole first challenge, we just needed fire. We just needed freaking flint and steel just to like get our lives semi livable in a very unlivable condition. And we didn't even get that. So she had to go.
Well, this was a fun segment. We look forward to getting more listener questions from you guys in the future. So please comment on the YouTube. Give us your questions for next week. You can ask us about the Traitors. You can ask, we can do some of these. You can give a Survivor question in there for Steph.
That's right.
Steph, thank you for your time today. This was a blast,
Thank
wasn't it?
you. Yes, I do have a couple more notes. This was a lot of fun.
Oh,
Thank you.
okay, good. I was watching the time for you. So if you're
Yes, no, I
good.
have to go, but because I'm gonna be going live with Sandra today, so I've got to go and get ready for
Lucky
that.
you.
But yes, that's gonna be fun. I'll
Good
talk to her
friend
about
of
the
yours.
Traitors.
Good friend.
Good, best friend, best. Okay, Kate, who I do think came off a little like trying too hard with the one-liners. I think was a little bit funny this episode because she was hysterical walking through the woods again, and she's like, "Oh, great!" Because who was her partner? Cherie, who was her partner in the
I
challenge?
can't I can't remember honestly.
Whoever her partner was, like, they got the thing wrong, went up in the grab bag of leaves, and she's like, "Great, she's chilling in a hammock. I'm over here getting bit by ticks." Like she's just like walking, saying stuff, and like it was typical Kate, but that's not planned out. Like that is so off the
Yeah, it's
cuff.
like she's reacting to stuff. It's better is when
Yes.
she's
So
reacting to
that
stuff.
was hilarious. And then she said something else that was like so funny. Shoot, I thought I wrote it down. This was like the line, and you had to like really listen to hear her say it, and you were like, "Oh my God, wait, do I not have it?" This was
Was
so
it the line about like I got to hang out in a hammock, I didn't get dirty, so this was a win for me?
no. She said something like, "Oh, somebody said, hurry up before." Oh, this is what it was. Alan goes, "All right, hurry up before you lose more dignity." And she goes, "I don't have any left." And she just like walks away. I'm like, oh my God. She literally said, "I have no dignity left. It's just gone." But all right. I think that was all I had. I thought Kate was
Rachel
funny with
Riley
that.
Award. We forgot to give out the Rachel Riley
Oh
Award for Best
yeah.
Faithful.
Yeah. Well, Phaedra, hold on. Oh, Best Faithful?
Best Faithful. I'd go Sandra this week. I think Sandra's in the best spot.
Yeah. Sandra was good and Trishelle, the two of
Yeah,
them.
Trishelle. I'm just concerned about Trishelle's future because this is a big murder. Hopefully she can survive it.
We got to give it to Sandra. She's definitely in a great spot.
And we
you
didn't
know?
even mention it. Sandra won the Shield, and she never won an immunity or reward challenge individually on Survivor. Like she was notorious as being not very good at the challenges. So she
Oh,
just
yeah. And
told
her
everyone
and
to stick
Kevin
it.
won.
Yeah.
That was hysterical. Yes.
Wasn't that great? So it's
Yes.
Sandra this week.
Yes. Sandra, and then Sandra calling Peter the star of the. Oh no, I think that was Parvati. She's
No.
like, Peter's like the star of the Faithfuls.
I liked Phaedra calling him the Peter Pals. That was good.
Oh, the Peter pals. Yes. Yes. Phaedra was a
Prediction
little
for
more.
next week.
My prediction for next week is they're going to get rid of like an MJ because it's too obvious to get rid of a Bergie. And then Parvati will go in the banishment, and Phaedra will recruit.
I'm going to predict, I'm concerned about Trishelle. I hope I'm wrong.
I am
I think
concerned
it's going
about
to be either
Trishelle.
her. I think they're going to take out someone from that group. I think it's going to be Trishelle. However, you've been right way more than I have so far this season. So I feel like it makes me question my thoughts on this. But I'll say Trishelle goes out. And I think Parvati is going to get banished next round.
You know what's funny? Like I've never won any of these shows, but I do have a very good sense. And Rachel and I were like going back and forth. The reason I truly have never won really is because I'm always a threat. But I was watching the Hunger Games over Christmas. We had friends in town. Have you ever seen the Hunger Games?
Yes. Yep.
I have never seen the Hunger Games, and I really do have to go after this, but I'm leaving with this. And I watched it with Kyle's best friend T-Dub that was in town, his wife Steph. I called everything before it happened, right before it happened. She was literally like, "I can't believe you were like calling this." I called it even down to the new president. Like that was the woman, and she went against the woman. And she's like, and I'm like, because from a strategic standpoint, I was like, I don't even know the girl's name. I was the girl that could shoot the thing. I was like in her mind.
Katniss.
Katniss. So, my time is coming. I have more shows in store to win because I call things. So
Me and
I'm
Steph's
gonna
gonna get a dub here on the cruise. So make sure you follow her on
team Steph.
Instagram
That's right.
at Steph_LaGrossa_Kendrick.
That's right.
Sign up for the Cruise of Deception,
Cruise
and
of
we'll see you next week,
Deception.
Steph.
Thank you, Jack.
Always a treat. Thank you. All right, y'all. That concludes our conversation today with our good friends, Stephenie and Bam. Great time talking Traitors, as always, today. We'll be back again next week for another recap. I think next week it's just going to be me and Steph because I think we have to record on a Thursday. So we'll be watching the screener and then releasing it on Friday. So watch the screener, release it, and then since nobody else will be able to watch it, I think it'll just be us two. However, that could change. We might, if we have a guest on, it means that we recorded something on a Friday. I can't remember what day we're recording, but plan on me and Steph. If you guys want to ask Steph or me questions, leave it here in the comments. Hit that like button. Please subscribe. And then you can also leave us a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts if you want. We appreciate that as well. I'm also going to release an episode next week with Gabriel Rincones Jr. He is a minor league player in the Phillies system, fitting because Stephenie, of course, married a Phillies World Series champion. And it's gonna be a good conversation. He's a minor leaguer. He's a top 10 prospect in their farm system, and best of all, he's actually from Scotland. So I recorded that episode. I'll be releasing it actually probably a few weeks after I taped it. We've had a number of those interviews lately. I mean, if you're a sports fan, we have done a lot with. I mean, we had that big Anthony Rendon interview a month ago, and then we've had some other prospects, DJ Hers and Oliver Dunn, and we hope to have some more as we move into baseball season. And also, we're going to be doing a MLB preview series on this show. Each week, I'm not entirely sure when it's going to start, but it'll be each episode. We'll cover each division, all 3 National League divisions, all 3 American League divisions, and it's going to be a very fun conversation. I'll have different guests on for each episode. Some of my media friends, baseball friends, they will be joining me on here for an MLB preview series. So make sure you guys are all subscribed. You're not going to miss out on that. You can follow me on social media at Jack Vita Show. And until next week, I'm Jack Vita. Bring in the dancing lobsters.